It's Saturday, August 13th, 2022. I'm TC Kirkham, and this is the Kirkham Report. Hey VC, how y'all doing this week? I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. Thank you for taking the time to watch the show. And it is August 13th. Today is the deadline for the Push to 200 subscribers contest, which has got me somewhere near 500. I'm amazed. So you still have a few hours to get the entry in. If you haven't done so, I've got a few more over the last couple of days, and I hope you'll take a look at it. This week we got a few extra features and a cover story that's going to be multiple parts, because this week we had four people connected directly to the music industry that left this earthly plane, and it's time we find out who they were. Jazz musician and composer Michael Lang passed away on August 5th. He was 80. The son of well-known publicist Jennings Lang, who was involved with movies and television for decades, Lang was an accomplished musician who was often used as an arranger and a conductor, as well as a writer of film scores, and well-known as a freelance jazz musician as well. He played on dozens of albums, including those from people like Ray Charles, John Lennon, Ella Fitzgerald, Barbra Streisand, who he was a favorite of, Josh Groban, Frank Zappa, and jazz artists like Lee Ritenour, Oliver Nelson, and Stan Kenton. His career lasted over 60 years, and he did music for a ton of different films, including several Irwin Allen films, including The Towering Inferno and The Poseidon Adventure. He also contributed to soundtracks from things as diverse as Memoirs of a Geisha to The Day the Earth Stood Still to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He recorded quite frequently with Barbra Streisand, who named Lang as one of her favorite musicians to work with. He also worked regularly in the 80s and 90s with Vanessa Williams and Michael Bolton. He has also done television work from The Simpsons to Family Guy to The Orville and The Secret Life of the American Teenager. Not to be confused with Woodstock creator Michael Lang, who passed away several years ago. Lang passed away this week. His contributions to the music industry are not well known by most people who don't follow scores or jazz, but his power inside the industry was massive. If you had him on something, whether it was a production or working on a score or working on music for a particular artist's album, you knew you had someone you could depend on. Michael Lang was 80.
Hey there, Georgie girl, swinging down the street so fancy-free. Nobody you meet could ever see the loneliness there inside you. Hey there, Georgie girl, why do all the boys just pass you by? Could it be you just don't try?
Unless you're of a particular age or musical mindset from the 1960s, the name Judith Durham is probably not going to mean much to you, especially if you are from the U.S. But if you're from Australia or the UK or other British and European countries, you are going to know the name Judith Durham. She was a star for almost half a century in those areas. Durham was the lead singer of the Australian group The Seekers, best known in America for their #2 smash Georgie Girl from 1966. But she went on to a massive solo career after leaving the Seekers in 1968 and became one of the most beloved performers in Australian history. She continued to perform up until just a few months before her passing. Durham has been around as part of the Seekers off and on again since the mid-1990s when she first reunited with them, and they continued to do what they called reunion tours, although they were just one-off appearances usually. They had a lot of fun together even as she got older, and even though there was some animosity when she first left the group, they overcame that in later years. She had a monster hit or two of her own in Australia in the 1970s and 1980s and became a television presenter as well. She continued to have hits throughout Europe throughout the course of her life, although many Americans don't really remember her because Georgie Girl was the biggest hit for the Seekers in America. Those songs continued to hit throughout the entire last half century, everywhere else but America. Why am I surprised? Judith Durham was 79.
I'm out here fighting, hungry. Fish ain't biting. Life's so frightening. I'm out here stumbling, broken, crumbling, and nothing's hatching, and I ain't catching nothing.
Unfortunately overshadowed by the other passing the same day, one of the greats of Motown passed away on August 8th. Lamont Dozier was 81. As part of the songwriting and production team of Holland Dozier Holland, Lamont was responsible for writing and producing some of the biggest hits of the Motown era in the 1960s, and then later when the trio left to form their own record label, Invictus, he was responsible for writing and producing some of the top R&B acts of the early 70s, including Freda Payne, Honey Cone, Chairman of the Board, and 100 Proof, Aged in Soul. He also started work on his own solo career and had a number of big R&B hits in the 1970s on his own. He hadn't performed that much beyond that. Continued as a songwriter with other partners throughout the 80s and 90s, co-writing Two Hearts with Phil Collins, writing Alison Moyet's breakthrough hit Invisible, and continuing to work with other acts like Peabo Bryson and Regina Belle. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame along with the Holland Brothers in 1990, and he certainly deserves the accolades he received. He is one of the true fathers of rock-inspired R&B music throughout the last half century. Lamont Dozier was 81. More than likely the reason why you may have missed the other three passings. Dame Olivia Newton-John passed away on Tuesday. She was 73 years old after several battles with various forms of cancer. Newton-John first shot to stardom in the early 1970s in America, but she'd started in late 1960s in Britain and in Australia. Most people think she's Australian, but she's not. She grew up there, but she was born in England and made her residence here in the United States since the mid-80s. John was responsible for some of the biggest hits of the 1970s and early 80s and ended up having 5 monster #1 hits. That's pretty impressive for a female artist stuck in a group where men were dominant on the charts. Her biggest hit, Physical, is one of the biggest hits of all time. It spent 10 weeks at #1 in the fall of 1981. In the early part of her career, she was known as Lovely Livy, doing mellow songs like her #1 hits, I Honestly Love You and Have You Never Been Mellow. But it was performing as Sandy in the 1978 musical film adaptation of Grease, alongside John Travolta, where she was able to shake that goody-goody image and finally move into the more rock sound she had always wanted to do. Grease brought her yet another #1 single in a duet with John Travolta, You're the One That I Want. And she continued to hit the charts regularly through the end of the 1980s, although she was recording less and less and spending more and more time with her daughter, who is also a musician, Chloe Latanzi. Over the years, she has been fighting cancer off and on, starting in the late 1980s when she was first diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a form of cancer that did take her life this week. Olivia was always one of my favorite performers. My mother was a huge fan as well. I showed off my album collection on influencers this last week, and it was an eye-opening experience for me, because I'm at the age now where some of the kids are, the people that when I was a kid were huge, are no longer going to be around for much longer. I'm knocking on wood as I say that, but unfortunately it's true. And Olivia was one of those people. To me, she will always be an immortal singer. Olivia Newton-John was 73. Out of the box this week, back to the vaults of 45s from Dawn and Mary. I only got one set this last week, but this time I deliberately bought a set I knew I had most of, because there were 2 or 3 of the songs I didn't have that I really wanted to get. So I'm going to spotlight those up front. I did not have any of these in my collection on 45, and I am really happy to add them. First up, the Cha-Cha-Chas with Jungle Fever. I have the album. This is actually an album I have in common with Steve Carlson. I was so stunned to see him show it on his show. Some great music from the early 70s there. I don't know if it's very well known, but it in tip-top shape, which this one is not. It's in decent shape, but not tip-top shape. It brings something like $15, according to Discogs. The Main Ingredient and You've Been My Inspiration. I'm unfamiliar with that song. Song I featured on Obscuria a couple months back, and I've never had the single. I only had the download of it, actually. Tennessee Birdwalk, Jack Blanchard and Misty Morgan. Great early novelty hit. Bigger country hit than pop hit, but it did hit both charts. The Commodores and Wonderland and Lovin' You. I did not have this. A white label promo from Ace, No Future in Your Eyes. I believe this was the follow-up to their hit How Long, which means I probably have it on an album because I have that first album. I don't remember the song off the top of my head, though. 2 songs from Harry Chapin that I did not have in my collection on 45. I did have this one on digital. Harry Chapin's classic Taxi. And another song I don't know by him that I'm interested in. I always enjoy his music. Could You Put Your Light On, Please? I do not know that one. Finally, an early song promo copy again on the Palm Tree label from Warner Brothers from Ashford and Simpson. It is I hate the print on these. Tried, Tested, and Found True. I didn't have any of those. Now, these I had, but I'm always, like I said, if it's a different pressing, great. If it's not, I will pass it on to somebody eventually. But these are all pretty good songs, and I like most of them. Eddie Rabbitt and Crystal Gale, You and I. Don and Mary have been finding a lot of those lately. Dan Fogelberg and Longer. Another Harry Chapin, one that came with that last set, his first release for Boardwalk Records, Sequel, which is a continuation of the story that he started in Taxi several years earlier. Chicago and Hard to Say I'm Sorry. Black on blue. Who thought of that print scheme? Neil Diamond and Heartlight. I have the picture sleeve of this actually somewhere in my collection. Emotion, Barbra Streisand. I have a picture sleeve of this also. There's No Getting Over Me, Ronnie Millsap. Heartbreaker, Dionne Warwick, another one I have a picture sleeve of in my collection already. And another picture sleeve I have already, Feels So Good, Chuck Mangione. Picked this up on a single from Don and Marion, another earlier shipment. I've always loved this song. I do have the album, The Rapper by the Jaggers. Very early Donnie Iris in that. I've Done Everything for You, Rick Springfield. Out of Touch, Daryl Hall and John Oates. And Love You Down, Ready for the World. Have this on picture sleeve already too. So somebody's going to be getting some good stuff if they're not the same pressings I have. I won't find out till I actually get the closet done, and it's almost done. I'm getting there. And start logging my other 45s on Discogs. But these ones I didn't have, terrific. I also went way over my usual limit for another set this week for the same reason, although this one I have nearly nothing in. But there were 3 or 4 titles in the one that you'll see hopefully next week that I really, really wanted. But as far as out of the box goes, that's it for this week. Today is the last day of my Push to 200 subscribers contest. You need to have your entries in if you are coming in and doing having fun and naming 10 obscure records you don't think in your collection that you don't think anyone else in the VC has. You need to do it by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. I will be taking the next week to get everything together. I have to say, you guys have got me almost 300 above where I was when I started this contest. I started the contest, I think I was at 182, and I'm at 471 now. It is thanks to great people like Rachel's Ghost and Vinyl Richie and Glenn Kellaway and so many other people. I'm sorry, I know there's other ones. Vinyl Richie. I know that there's so many people out there who have been spreading the word. Richard McCook. I can't name them all right here, but they're all on that list. Now I'm going to be having 2 or 3 specials around the contest this coming week. Tomorrow or Monday, I will post my secret criteria. If you remember back on there, I did have a secret criteria that I was watching for. And so far, less than 10% of the entries I've received have actually hit it. And I will be informing those people that they will get extra entries in a special and what the secret criteria is tomorrow or Monday. So I don't want to tell you what it is yet. You still have a chance to do it and enter this over the next few hours as you're watching this. If you're watching this on the 13th. Later on in the week, I'm also going to do my 10 obscure records I don't think anybody else has. I've been holding off on doing it. I have a lot of CDs I can't get to, so I'm going to stick with albums and 45s. And hopefully everybody will have a great deal of fun seeing my list too. Of course, I'm not going to be in the running. And then next Saturday, around noon Eastern, I think it'll be up, I am going to post the contest drawing. I'm going to take the week. I have a ton of people a ton of multiple entries for a number of people, Vinyl Richie and Rachel's Ghost and Glenn Kellaway and others who have had other people say, this is who sent me here, 2 hip chicks. Every mention they got an extra entry. So it's going to be a huge wheel. It's going to take a while. There'll be some editing. There'll be some special stuff on it. And that contest video eventually will net 3 grand prize winners. First prize, $100 gift card. Second prize, $50 gift card. Third prize, $25 gift card. And, or Amazon equivalent or whatever, if you're out of the country, whatever service that you would like me to put it on. That's $100 equal to US money. So if you're in Canada, you're going to get $100 equal to whatever Canadian is. I think it's 120, so on and so forth that way. So if you're out of the country, you may want to do a Visa gift card because it's probably that easier to do it that way. But however you want to do it, you still have time to enter. The rules and stuff are on the original contest entry. I'm not worried about the formats. People are worried they're going to get disqualified. I'm not paying that much attention, so it's fun watching all of them, and I thank you for all that. I have spent so much time watching over 100 entries, and so it's going to be crazy. I thought I'd have maybe 20 when I got done with this. So I've got 100 plus entries. And there's 2 separate entries on the list from Chris Prophy because he added added one afterward that it's not officially part of it, but I put it in the playlist so you could see that addition to it because it was a great addition. And there's all kinds of stuff I need to look up and find. In fact, I already found one from a gentleman that entered on Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember the band. I already downloaded their album from Bandcamp. They did a cover of the Doctor Who theme that was unbelievable, and I was just like, wow, I love that. So I immediately went and downloaded that album. It was free and it was really good. I'm finding so much cool stuff. I cannot thank everybody enough for helping me get there, and I am trying to get to 500 now. I want to get that community tab open so I can do things with that. I'm not that far away. I'm at 471 as of the time I'm recording this at 1:41 in the afternoon. And if we can get to 500 by the end of the month, that would be very cool. I really hope that people will continue to watch and enjoy what they're discovering on TKR as much as I've enjoyed discovering so many other people and hopefully making new friends through this contest, because I am just blown away by the support and all the different stuff out there. Thank you for making this contest a success far beyond my wildest dreams. That's going to do it for this week. We'll get back to regular formatting after the contest is finally over. As I said, I do have some contest specials coming up this week. I will also have the regular programs. We will have the Pop Retro Countdown on Sundays at 4. Now, for those of you who don't, I don't think some of you understand how that works. The countdown are based on my personal charts. They are not based on the Billboard charts. They are not based on any major chart. So people are like, wow, somebody this high, I don't remember this. That's because it was my chart, not somebody else's chart. So this is my personal charts is where these are based. The only exception is from 1998 to 2000, where I was claiming it as my chart, but it was actually for discjockey.com. That's where I was working. So those are part of that. But these are my own personal taste, my own personal chart. People seem to really enjoy it, and I hope you'll catch it on Sundays at 4. Influencers, the show where I talk about an artist each time that has influenced my life, is on Tuesdays at 4. And Rank This again got skipped again because of the massive contest stuff. I just did not have time to do it. This week I don't have an excuse. I will get it done, and it is coming up on Thursday at 4. And of course the Kirkham Report every Saturday around 4. I try to have it up at 4, but sometimes it's a little later depending on what's going on. And as always, I have my Daily Obscuria Vault every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. And don't forget, you can request something there. Just leave it in the show notes, and I will find it. I have a request coming up this week, and we have a lot more crazy stuff. Unfortunately, I don't get blocked on very many songs. I do checks on them before I post them a week or two in advance, and I'm always surprised when I get a block on something. For instance, I said the first one I did a whole special, and I'm not doing that anymore, but I got blocked on For a Friend by the Bugaloos, which didn't make any sense. I got blocked on Atomic by Blondie, which I did not get blocked on when it was showed up on the Pop Retro Countdown a few weeks ago. It might have been the length of the track. And this week I got blocked with a song I wanted to use this coming week. And all of them are artists or by songs that you don't ever hear or even think about unless you hear them. I mean, Atomic happens to be my favorite song by Blondie, but I don't know if anybody else remembers it that well. Kim didn't remember it that well. Kim knows Call Me and Heart of Glass and, you know, The Tide is High. The popular ones, Atomic peaked at number 41. It was still my favorite song, but I wasn't allowed to use it on Obscuria. And so you won't be hearing Heart in a Love Song by the Marshall Tucker Band either, because it got blocked this week. I love that song, and I was going to play it this week, but I found a suitable substitute. And in any case, more great Obscurias every day at 11. And I've rambled on and on and on and on for that long enough. I can't wait till the end of the contest tonight. I mean, I'm so happy that it's done so well, as I said. And tonight's the end. It's going to be all over. And if you don't see yourself on the list that was up the other day, I'll have the list again in that special I'm doing tomorrow or Monday. And it'll be updated to people who have let me know what they weren't on the list. A lot of people wrote to me and they were in the playlist but not on my list, which is fine. I just want to make sure I get them included. And so we'll be doing some special stuff around that as well, as I said earlier. In any case, I'm rambling. I'll see you next time. For the Kirkham Report, I'm TC Kirkham. Ciao, baby.